Hi, I'm Kenda Sentinel. I am the Executive Director of Birth in Color. Today you will hear about stories that encompass reproductive justice. When having these conversations, it is extremely important to center the conversation around reproductive health and not to have them in silos. Reproductive health encompasses more than just abortion. And so when it comes to making laws, when it comes to advocating, when it comes to centering conversations, we want to make sure that all stories are heard before making policies, before trying to police anyone's bodies. And so the whole goal of this campaign is to really focus on us no longer being silent, us no longer allowing anyone to police our bodies, and to really understand that reproductive justice is centers bodily autonomy. I have the choice to choose when or to not ever have children. It's my choice of what type of methods I want to use to even control my cycle. It is my choice to just advocate and talk about my experiences. And so that's what we want to center about these conversations. And we truly hope that you enjoy listening to all of the stories.
Okay, so April 29th, I had my son. I was like 18 weeks. I had my son. His name is Messiah. That's what I named him. Starting like 9 o'clock that morning, I started to have contractions, but I thought were contractions. So I called my doctor, told them what happened. Far as like the contractions and the pain, they told me to lay down, get water. Just the typical things that the doctor would tell you with going through with anything as far as pregnancy. I was early. I was only 18 weeks. So I told them like the pain was a little more than what it really was. And they just was like, it's just still kind of early. It's just Braxton Hicks and things like that maybe. Or just drink some water, make sure everything is fine. Around 3 o'clock that evening, the pain never went away. So it started like 9 o'clock that morning. The pain never went away, and they told me to come in if it was to the point, like if I go take a nap and I woke up and it was still there. So I took a nap. I went to the hospital around like 9 o'clock that night and was like, hey, the pain is still here. I think it's a little more than what we're saying it is. And they were just like, okay, we'll take you back to have an ultrasound. Went to go have an ultrasound. The lady laid me on the table. Probably I was there for like, it seemed like an hour and a half. Probably was really like an hour, but it was a long process. And in the time, I'm still having contractions. So I'm like, something's really wrong. So she was like, okay, just wait. She's still inside of me with the throb and everything, trying to see what's going on. And she was just like, I'll be right back. I'm going to see the doctor. So this was like at the mark of the hour. So she comes back and tell me to get dressed, everything's fine, and go back to my room. And I'm this is at St. Mary's. So I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable with them. I've had like 3 children with them so far. So, I'm comfortable with them, and no, 2 children. And I go back to just listen to what she said. I go back, she take me in a wheelchair, and I'm just like, I'm still having contractions, like something's wrong. So she was like, oh no, we checked everything. It did look kind of like the baby's still moving and everything. At the time we didn't know it was a boy. So she was like, the baby's still moving and everything's fine. So when we got back to the room, the doctor came in and he was like, now I'll never forget who he was, but he came in there, he was just like, everything's fine, Miss Haskell, you can go home. And I'm like, oh, are you sure? Like, I feel like I gotta use the bathroom. So I was like, I went to the bathroom. Well, he was like, yeah. I said, well, can I just go to the bathroom before I leave to go home? And I'm driving. So I go to the bathroom and he's like, yeah, that's fine. Go to the bathroom. You're fine. Everything's good. Everything checked out good. Now, she already had told me that she couldn't really see my cervix when I was in ultrasound. So I was like, okay. So I went to the bathroom, not really knowing, because, I don't know too much about it. I'm just having babies. I don't really know, everything about it. But I go to the bathroom and I went to push, like, to pee, and the baby came out. So he was in the toilet at this point, and I'm just like, I pull the cord, I'm hysterical, going crazy and everything. I'm just like, something's wrong. The nurse come knocking on the door because I had the door locked. Was like, are you okay? I'm like, something's wrong, something's wrong. Something just fell out of me, which I knew was the baby. She was like, no, don't say that. You don't know, and stuff like that. Comes in the bathroom and was like, okay, Miss Haskell, your baby is out. He's in the toilet, and I'm just like, it's a boy, because I didn't know this. I got 3 girls. I mean, well, 2 girls at the time. So I'm just like, okay. So I stood up or whatever, still hysterical. I come out the bathroom, wheeled out the bathroom. They put the baby in a bucket and put me on a wheelchair. I had to sit on top of the bucket because, of course, the umbilical cord was still attached. And the doctor was standing in the hallway, and he was like blue, like he couldn't believe what happened. So they took me in the room, and they had officially called the OB, which was at the time Dr. Rankins. She came and she explained to me what happened, but I was too hysterical. So they kind of calmed me down, gave me some type of medicine or something, kind of went out after that. And she was trying to get the placenta and everything out, and I was too out of it. So they asked me, did I want to hold my baby? And I was like, no, because I'm processing it like a baby, like, or whatever the case may be. So I told them no. And I was like, can I take pictures or whatever? And they was like, yeah, that's fine and things like that. So they I guess did a memory box or whatever. They took me back to get a DNC because I wouldn't allow them to remove everything because I was so hysterical. And they just, from there, it was just like, well, you had a baby. And that was it. Like, and I was by myself. So, I was just like, yeah. So, yeah. I was confused and I was scared because I'm sorry, y'all. Because at the time, I was kind of by myself. Like, Dad knew about it. We was not on good terms and stuff like that. So it was like, I'm in the hospital by myself. And like I said, I trust these people because I've been going with them since I was 19. So, like, I didn't know, like, it's a difference between the ER and the labor and delivery unit. Like, they have their own ER. I didn't know. But the thing is, they don't allow you to go up there unless you're 20 weeks. So had I known, a little more, I probably would have felt a little better, but I was just confused and scared. Didn't know. I kind of, like, tried to, sue on the extent, because, I was by myself. Y'all didn't prepare me. Y'all didn't do nothing. Like, it was just like, it was okay. Yeah. So had I been in the car, like, what if I would have been in the car and I just pushed the baby out? That was the size of my hand. So, yeah. But, yeah. Can I give you a hug? Yeah. And then we can sleep. Oh, my goodness. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
No problem.
I tell people all the time, motherhood is a beautiful disaster. It is beautiful. All the things that you see on social media and all of that is beautiful. But the reality is, it's hard. You don't get a manual. It doesn't come with a playbook. You don't even know if you're doing it right. You literally just try your best. And sometimes that's not even good enough. It's hard. It's really hard, especially when you go into the teenage age. Sometimes we forget that we were teenagers, and also a lot of us in this generation we're trying to heal ourselves while being parents. So motherhood, it's a beautiful disaster. That's exactly what it is. Oh my God! In the beginning, of course, it's fun. You don't have to do too much. You feed them, they're great. And then you get into this divide. You get into teenage years. Well, preteen is already a lot, but teenage years is very different because you're literally seeing pretty much what you produce into the world. They're coming into their self. They're becoming adults, and you're seeing like traits in them that you do like, you don't like, and you're trying to figure out how to fix that, how to, just make it easier for them than what you had. So the stages, they're different. They all have their ups and downs, but it's definitely a process. Oh my God! In the beginning, it was super, not even an exaggeration of how hard it was. I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 7.5 months. So I wasn't prepared at all. I didn't have anything. So, as I went along, of course, once you had the baby, everybody's just like telling you all the things what to do. I had already made up my mind I wasn't having any more kids. So my goal with the flow was like, I'm not having any more kids. So I want to do every single thing that my heart desires with this one kid, because I'm never going to do it again. So I'm going to do it now. If it works, it works. If it don't, we're going to scratch it and start over. But this is my one chance.
So I heard you say that you did not find out till you were 7.5 months pregnant. How?
First of all, I was a teenager. So I didn't know my body. I was just living the life. And it was right when my mom died. So I had no regard for anything, honestly. And the very first time I had intercourse, I got pregnant. And of course, in your mind, when you have sex, you're going to get pregnant. In my mind, I wasn't thinking that. I was a teenager. I had no signs. I gained no weight at all. And I actually went to the clinic, and they told me, they were like, oh, you're only like 3 weeks. I'm like, okay, great. I went to Regional Memorial. They pulled out. I told them that I wasn't keeping it. He pulled out the ultrasound machine. It was a whole baby. I was like, man, no. I found out end of November. I had my son in February.
So my abortion occurred when I was 17. My grandmother was an RN for almost 40 years. So I always received sex education from her. So I always knew about condom use and, where babies came from. So I was always careful. So at this time, condoms come off. So it came off, and we spent the time trying to get the condom out, and I thought I was okay. But I don't know, maybe a month or so later, I did not get my period, but it never came regularly anyway. So, and I was actually at my grandmother's house. And she's the one that drove me to the pharmacy, got the pregnancy test. And I found out I was pregnant. It was the aftermath afterwards that kind of put into perspective that I needed to have an abortion, that I was not ready to be anybody's mom. And it was the trying to tell them that I did do everything that I was taught, that you can't get pregnant by using a condom if it comes off, because it happened to me. And trying to tell the guy, and it completely blowing up in my face. Talking to my friends, and it being, some of them were already teen moms, and I saw what they were going through. So I just talked to my mom, and I talked to my dad, and made a decision to go to Planned Parenthood.